Welcome to Curry Girl Tech Talk. I am Crystal Curry. Thank you for joining. I took a short break for my leadership series, Elevate 2025. This week, I am beginning a new weekly format, sometimes with guests and hopefully always with engaging dialogue about topics at the intersection of technology, business, gaming, sports, and entertainment. Having had a career in corporate technology leadership positions, I know that leadership is a broad topic, and I know that there are various perspectives and approaches. Right, so if you've been watching my social media pages, which I hope that you have, you will see that I am posting some leadership quotes. One of my favorite quotes is that leaders are catalysts for change. And another one is that endless possibilities arise in the midst of change. And I thought of those because we are in such a period of revolutionary change as it relates to the technology landscape and business and finance in general. I believe that leaders are needing an innovative approach and a paradigm shift to navigate this period of time. I am excited to be back, so let's get to it. I am talking tech today about the $500 billion AI infrastructure investment. All right, so first I want to start out by talking about the leadership change that we see every 4 to 8 years. So there's a new commander-in-chief in DC, and he is called Mr. President Donald Trump, in fact. So one of the things I follow is how the new administration is going to affect technology and business sectors in general. We see that the president's cabinet includes some influential business people, to say the very least. And there's a lot of speculation going on about how that will impact not only the business community domestically, but also global economies. He's already making some changes. We see that Elon Musk is playing a pivotal role along with other technology giants, forming what several are calling an oligarchy. Elon Musk specifically is head of DOGE, the Department of Government Efficiency, a department that he explains as being tasked with updating government technology. As he was seen wearing a t-shirt with the words tech support. So President Trump has replaced the U.S. digital service with Doge. It is a move that is said to also include layoffs as they trim the federal government workforce. However, several federal employees are concerned that Musk's changes will leave security of extremely confidential data at risk, driving several federal employees themselves to resign from their positions. But all of this is supposed to be a part of the president and Republican agenda of a strategy called Project 2025. All right, so the $500 billion AI infrastructure investment involves 3 top tech firms creating a new company called Stargate. The trio includes OpenAI, SoftBank, and Oracle. This is said to be the largest AI infrastructure project in history and is estimated to create 100,000 jobs in the U.S. According to OpenAI, ARM, Microsoft, NVIDIA, Oracle, and OpenAI themselves are the key initial technology partners. The build-out is supposed to be underway in Texas and is said to be able to strengthen the U.S. position in the global AI race. With regard to AI, we know that President Biden also implemented executive orders surrounding AI implementations. And moreover, industry leaders are wondering how we will get our arms around this rapidly evolving technology landscape. It is far outpacing leaders' ability to contain it. Advances in an array of disruptive technologies have outpaced policy, regulation, and a thorough understanding of the consequences of these technologies, and perhaps can even involve the spread of misinformation and disinformation. And so leaders are still grappling with this. And that is the reason why I wanted to talk about this particular episode is because as we put regulation around AI, it starts to bring up a conversation of how, these technologies operate and the types of things that it is capable of doing. And as I've mentioned several times, I don't believe we've even scratched the surface of what artificial intelligence is capable of doing. And coupled with these other disruptive technologies, it's going to bring a significant change. And as many of you already know, I am a proponent of progressive legislative measures that I believe we do need to govern the AI processes. And we can need government to continue to lean into the conversation about artificial intelligence with sound leadership. Having a conversation around policy, regulation, and an understanding of the long-term effects of what these technologies are bringing is key to ensuring that we have a thriving economy, a thriving workforce, and that individual personal lives are protected as well. Because we know that AI is scraping data in a way that, it's being utilized in these AI engines and being represented for use to other people. So these legislative measures are a way of protecting people in general going forward. Here are some topics that have been swirling around with regards to AI in the legislative process. AI bias is the major one. There is the Eliminating Bias in Algorithmic Systems Act that is proposed by Congress. A simple way of explaining this act is that it is a way to ensure each government agency will have an Office of Civil Rights that employs experts and technologists focused on bias, discrimination, and other potential harms resulting from AI algorithms. Here is an example of why that is important. There are several AI applications that are currently being developed to automate the employment process, right? There are several laws that currently govern this process as well to ensure that there is fairness, equity, and inclusion in the hiring of personnel, right? To make sure that the employment process continues to be conducted as much as possible in a non-discriminatory manner. There is a possibility that AI system algorithms could infer personal characteristics with bias or produce results that discriminate protected categories like race and gender. So careful oversight of the automated processes in AI algorithms are a smart way, in my opinion, to legislate AI. All right, so this brings me back to the topic of the oligarchy. All right, so I had to look this up. An oligarchy is where the government is run by a small group of people having control. In this case, what people are referring to is the group of super rich and elite that are surrounding the president's cabinet and influencing major decisions. I am not a political analyst, but I am a technologist, and what I see is some tech giants that could be a part of that small group controlling the outcome. I believe that we need several people involved to look at this from all angles, which will hopefully lead to better outcomes. So that's all I'm going to say about that. But as it relates to technology, we need to ensure that technology is governed appropriately. We know that leaders are grappling with the projected workforce changes with the introduction of AI into a lot of the process, and people building AI internal engines and what that is going to do to the workforce. What can we expect and how will that change? I believe what is key, in my opinion, is that our democracy involves contributions from many to help inform legislation, not just based on by a few of the super rich, but includes the intellectual perspectives of other technologists and business people from all sectors. So what are your thoughts? Do you agree with the changes the president is making with regard to technology? I know for me, with computer science, we are taught that technology is agnostic, right? The code itself is going to operate as it is written. So we are the ones that shape its future. So give me a shout out on my social media pages. My handle is at Curry Girl Tech Talk, and let me know your thoughts. I'd just like to know what your opinions are. This is something to watch, as President Donald Trump and his cabinet leaders are also heavily focused on technology. There's a big part of it, and it will be interesting to see how AI and other emerging technologies are going to impact the U.S. economy, business, and even our global positioning. All right, now with regard to other aspects of bias in AI algorithms, there are financial services and education decisions. So, we talked about the employment systems, right? Automating financial decisions wherein AI algorithm collects personal characteristics that could potentially discriminate, using algorithms and predictive modeling with data from historic lending practices. For instance, discriminated people who have not historically been approved for financial services could be affected by these predictive algorithms. History is not always the best indicator of how the future should be in terms of financial decisions and characteristics of people who are traditionally given lending opportunities. And it doesn't project how you might be a financial steward of any type of mortgage or any type of financial service. And we know that fair and lending laws govern processes as well. A lot of what these AI applications are doing is mimicking the decisions of a human being. What AI researchers have found is that it's not always an achievable thing. I mean, you cannot replicate human flexibility or human ingenuity or human imagination or critical thinking, right? Those are things that are human based. And, we need some percentage of work that is validated by an actual human being to ensure that the algorithm is implemented in a fair and equitable manner. All right, so finally, it is Women's History Month. I could not let Women's History Month, the month of March, end without acknowledging women who are doing big things every day. So thank you to all the women leaders out there who've not only influenced my leadership approach, who have mentored me, who have talked to me and offered advice, who have been strong advocates for me. Just thank you to the women who bring different perspectives to the table. And, one of the things I mentioned in my Elevate book is that I've chosen a career that is 80% male dominated and mostly white male. In fact, so technology is not the most diverse field, but I believe that women bring different perspectives to the table, and it's natural for women to lead differently than men. Characteristics that have defined a women's approach to leading and sometimes have not always been as valued as men's leadership. I believe that men should also champion women as they strive to achieve their greatest ambitions. Everyone essentially needs mentors, wisdom, and supporters along this journey, as together our synergies are impactful. So I just wanted to chime in about my thoughts about diversity, equity, and inclusion. I mean, there's a large conversation going on in our country about this. This continues to be something that we discuss. The numbers that we see with regards to women in leadership, there's only about 10% of women leaders, of women CEOs, and only 3 of them are Black women. So the conversation around diversity, equity, and inclusion is not over. One day I was chatting with one of my mentors who I elicited feedback from him about my leadership seminars in the book that I'm writing about elevating your leadership approach and really elevating in every area of your life. And it includes advice about my leadership approach in my journey in leadership. But anyway, he and I were having a conversation, and he and I easily agree that DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion, just makes good business sense. I kind of just think it's silly because it's just not only smart from a business perspective, but if you look at it, to include a diverse workforce means that you are including diverse leadership, because leaders define what your market approaches are going to be. They define so much about how your business approach is going to be. And your market includes such a wide variety of people. They are as diverse as they come, right? And diversity, equity, and inclusion includes those initiatives. So many companies have made pledges with regards to ensuring that their company is serving their people in large segments of the population in terms of corporate mission and corporate goals. Savvy consumers are looking to what brands value, and that is an important thing. I believe it's just smart to ensure that your brand identity includes a mission and a goal that speaks to not only your segments of the population and your market share, but what you value and your intentions. You know, one example I was thinking of is you may have a restaurant or a supermarket that may have a goal or may proclaim in their mission to use organic foods. People are very serious about their health, and consumers are savvy, so they're looking for you to deliver on your promise of having an organic food option. And if you're not sticking to those goals, and if you don't stick to what you value, then consumers are savvy enough to go to other competitors that align with what they value as consumers. People look at what you value, and what you value is what you invest in. If what you invest in are people who are giving their time, their energy, their money, and their resources to your company, then they are going to want to see a return on that investment. Stakeholders are going to want to see a return on that investment, as well as your customers. And your customers can also be investors and stakeholders, as they want to receive a return not only in the stock market, but largely measured by what you value and how your mission aligns to those goals and how you iterate upon those goals to sustainable, ethical, and inclusive ways. Embracing diversity, equity, and inclusion enriches our viewpoints and enhances market value. It amplifies our collective strengths. It promotes a spirit of unity as we thrive together in business. Establishing brand identity and a reputation in the market is ensuring that your goals and your mission and vision for the company align with what you value. If you don't follow through on the promise of what you value, then a competitor will surely do so. And so finally, I just want to wrap up with a story. I took my son on college tours, and as he was making his decisions and we made our rounds on campus visits, we visited the beautiful campus at LSU, Louisiana State University. This was my favorite tour because our young tour guide was fun, energetic, and full of information. One of the most interesting facts that I learned about as we asked about one of the buildings, he mentioned that the LSU swimming pool was one of the largest built in NCAA history. And to which he added that the then governor was said to have requested that the pool be constructed slightly larger than the standard NCAA size by just a few meters to outsize the competition. However, in fact, it did outsize the competition in that the LSU swim teams could not compete in that facility because it was too large, according to NCAA competition rules. I believe that there is a reason that we adhere to certain standards so that there is equity and fairness in the competition. No offense, Tigers. I understand that now there is a beautiful, beautiful facility that has been renovated at LSU, and they figured out a workaround to that so many years ago where they had added a bulkhead to make the pool the right size so that competitions could in fact be held at the facility. But no offense, Tigers, go Dogs. Surpassing the competition entails adhering to established standards and policies to guarantee fairness for everyone involved. We uplift the spirit of competition. We embrace these standards to guarantee fairness in competition, allowing everyone to thrive. Elevating our approach means upholding these principles that equitable competition and free enterprise for all. Thank you for joining Curry Girl Tech Talk. More to come on leadership in sports as we tie the two together for big wins in business. You know, I hope that you enjoyed the podcast-on. That was an amazing event, and I was delighted to join that event. What a way to launch Series 3. And then we got the AMBIs. The AMBIs are March 31st. So we are celebrating spring with excellence in audio and celebrating major podcasts and just podcasts in general like my own. So I'm excited about the AMBIs as we enjoy the awards season for AMBIs and included, and for people who are big podcasters and enjoy the efforts that we make in terms of trying to bring the best in audio. So next week, we'll talk more about leadership in sports. I am Crystal Curry. Take care.